The atmosphere in the dining room shifted the moment my words landed. Not loud, not angry, but calm, almost inquisitive. I hadn't raised my voice, hadn't aimed to cause a scene. I simply set my fork down and tilted my head slightly, like a man solving a riddle. "What kind of money?" I asked. The question floated above the gentle clink of wine glasses and the soft of a polite conversation, slicing through it all like a blade through silk. The CEO, mid-sip of his Merlot, had just leaned back in his chair and tossed out a casual remark. "Is the $4,500 monthly stipend you receive enough?" With the careless ease of someone sharing trivia. He meant nothing by it. But those words, those numbers, were a fuse, and I had just struck the match. The effect was instantaneous. The room seemed to choke on itself. Laughter died in throats. Forks froze halfway in mouths, and every eye in the room slowly turned, not to me, but to her, my wife, the company's head accountant. Her face had gone pale, the color draining away as swiftly as her composure. Her breath hitched. Her hand trembled slightly as she set her knife down with a faint metallic clatter. She didn't meet my gaze. Instead, her eyes locked onto the CEO, whose grin had faded to a tight line. He leaned in, whispering something to her, too low for me to hear, but it didn't matter. I already knew. That moment, so still and suspended, was an accident. It was the culmination of months of quiet, deliberate preparation, a carefully calculated plan unfolding with the precision of a surgeon's incision. We had been married 6 years. 6 years of what I believe was partnership. Shared dreams, late-night conversations, whispered plans for future. She had encouraged me to take the R&D position at her firm, painting it as a step forward, something we could both build from. I mistook her push for ambition as support. I thought she was guiding me. She was guiding me, yes, into a position where she could take control. She'd insisted it made sense for her to manage our finances, with her background in accounting. It seemed logical. I didn't question it. Why would I? She was my wife. I trusted her completely. My paychecks were routed directly into accounts she managed. I never checked. I had no reason to. Until one afternoon, over lunch, everything cracked. It was a simple conversation with Mark from HR, sandwiches, and small talk. Then he laughed and said, "With that bonus package, you're basically untouchable here." "Bonus package?" I kept my face composed, chuckled like I understood, but his words struck like a brick through glass. "What bonus?" I asked casually. He blinked. "The $4,500 monthly bump. It's insane." My stomach twisted, but I gave nothing away. Inside, I felt the floor drop. That evening, I asked her, gently like it was nothing, if I received any bonuses at work. She didn't even flinch. "No, nothing like that," she said smoothly. "I'd know, wouldn't I?" It was perfect, too perfect. The kind of lie that's been rehearsed 100 times. But I saw it then, in the tiniest tremor of her lips, in the tightness of her jaw. A crack. I didn't argue. I didn't accuse. I went to bed that night beside her. She fell asleep easily. I didn't sleep at all. That was the night I became someone else, not the trusting husband, not the fool. I became the architect of her unraveling. Over the next 4 months, I played the part perfection. Loving, cheerful, oblivious. I let her touch me, kiss me, sit across from me at dinner, all while I gathered every piece of evidence I would need. I quietly met with a lawyer. I requested bank records under guise of organizing our taxes. I initiated a payroll audit for budgeting. I documented everything, every transfer, every deposit, every account. One caught my eye, a secondary account in my name, but one I had never created, never accessed. It had received a $4,500 deposit every month for a full year, deposits originating from my own employer. But she had complete control over it. It wasn't a mistake. It was a scheme, a meticulous, cold-blooded siphoning of my income, hidden behind a mask of affection and shared goals. I kept my silence. I smiled through dinners, celebrated anniversaries, told her I loved her, all while building a mountain of evidence behind her back. Then I chose my moment, a company dinner. Everyone of importance was there, executives, HR, the CEO, and her. She laughed beside me, unaware the ground was about to disappear beneath her feet. I had asked the CEO to do one small thing. Pose a question, just a simple, seemingly offhand question. He didn't understand why, but he trusted me. I'd earned that trust through years of dedication, innovation, loyalty, the very value she had thrown away. So when he turned to me and said, "Is a $4,500 monthly stipend you receive enough?" And I replied, casually, "What kind of money?" The effect was explosive. Silence. Every eye turned toward her. She couldn't speak. She didn't try. She sat frozen in place, exposed. The CEO leaned in, whispered something brief, then stood. His voice was clipped, decisive. "Office. Now." She had no choice but to follow. I stood too, walking behind him like a shadow. In that office, I laid it all out: bank records, payroll reports, forged account access, a timeline of deception backed by notarized documents and third-party verification. She tried to spin a story, said she meant to tell me that it wasn't what it looked like, but the evidence was overwhelming. HR sat stunned. Legal was called in. She was suspended on the spot, her career disintegrating before her eyes. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt clean, unburdened. She wasn't my partner. She wasn't the woman I fell in love with. She was a strategist, a thief, a manipulator hiding behind smiles and spreadsheets. The divorce moved swiftly. She didn't contest it. Her lawyer tried to negotiate, but mine presented the fraud file. They folded instantly. She lost her job, her credibility, her leverage. I recovered every dollar. A full 6 figures returned like stolen treasure. People ask me if I regret it, if I miss her. I don't. What I mourned wasn't her. It was the illusion, the fantasy of a shared life, of loyalty, of love that was never truly given. She built her downfall with lies. I only handed her the final brick. And as I walked away from that ruined illusion, I didn't gloat or smile. I just turned back one last time and said those same 5 words, "What kind of money?" and left her to the silence she deserved.